Sounds good.
All right. Boom. There we go. It's always funny because there's like a 5-second delay from when it starts recording. And
Yeah.
I'm always like in the first still, I'm like looking off to the center and it's like, that's not a very flattering photo of me. Yeah. So you're telling me before we got on how you're doing, because we've missed you the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's been longer than that since I've done one of these things. I think it's been 4.
Wow.
Because
good to have you. Hey, it's just you and me then. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just been, I've been working a new job, so I've been trying to work a lot doing that. And I actually got a promotion today. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's not a big promotion. It's just a different department that can do more. But yeah. So come back with good news.
There you go.
I mean, the news when I was away was not so great, but I mean that's part of life, the circle of life.
Yeah. Are you comfortable sharing about what has happened? I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah, but... I mean, it was just some unfortunate news. My significant other, her mother passed away, so we've just been spending a lot of time with her, and trying to be a good guy, trying to be her rock whatever way I can.
Yeah.
The sad part is I didn't actually get to know her mother very well because of COVID. So, it's time we'll never get back, but that's okay because the time I did share with her was very special. It was a lot of fun because she was a really awesome lady. But we didn't have me on to talk about sad stuff all day. So
well, yeah, but I mean, I think it's important to kind of normalize having these conversations. Like,
that's true.
I know I bring this up all the time, and it's not the same. It's different, but it's my experience. And through my experience, that's where we get our understanding and we can connect with others.
Right.
So, I was very young when my dad passed. And today, as I'm a parent now, it's like, oh man, I'm reliving these moments, but it's like in a healing way. It's like, I can be here for this. And my dad was there for that, of course, but he was also a pilot. So he was kind of in and out and stuff. And this is the way it was, right?
He wasn't always there. Yeah.
Yeah. And kids need that attachment, right? And anyways, but I saw this picture of my dad and he'd always tell this big story and he was a storyteller. And he told us one story about, he's like, this one time, actually, he didn't even tell me the story. Somebody told me about it after he had passed. Yeah, your dad, one time we're hunting and we shot this moose, and it was back when they used horses. So like quads don't get scared when they see a bear, but horses, like dogs, they like to live. So if they see like a scary animal, they're like, screw this, man, I'm out of here. Like dogs do the same thing. Humans are the only people who seem to have no problem running directly into like spears and stuff.
I wonder why that is.
yeah, because we're possessed. Anyways, but yeah, so he shot this bear when it was charging him from like 40 yards away because the bear wanted to eat this moose and was like, you guys are bitches, I can take you, because they all had their backs turned, right? And I think when the bear came to check it out, when the horses got scared, they freaked out and they were all stuck in the reins. So they're all like, because they don't know what's going on. They don't know that they're parked. And then the grizzly bear seeing this, it was freaked out. So charged my dad and he like, and in the picture you see, shot it right in the eye.
Yeah, it's like I think it was his right eye.
Right there. And it's like, dude, that's some revenant shit. But anyways, you hear these stories and you're like, no way, my dad never did that. My dad was a klutz. And it's kind of like that, maybe perhaps for you, is that you hear these stories of Tears' mom afterwards. And you're like, damn, I missed out on hearing these stories. Because I mean, I think that's one of the most beautiful things in life is hearing someone's story, which is why I'm doing this.
That's why we're doing this whole thing, baby.
Yeah. So anyways, there I go on a tangent. Thank you for being vulnerable about that with me, my friend.
No, that was a good, I really wanted to hear the story of how that kind of happened, because you sent the picture earlier today and I was like, even in the picture, you kind of sitting there, you're like, okay, really? Like even with the photographic evidence right in front of me, I was still like, come on.
Yeah,
No
isn't
way.
that nuts, man? We got
That's
to post
insane.
that picture. We got to post that picture. But yeah,
Yeah.
the bear was charging him, and they all would have got killed. Because
Right.
grizzly bears are like honey badgers, man. They don't
They're
give a shit.
yeah, they're like black bears on
You're
crack.
like, I'm a tank. You're a
Yeah.
stupid human. Like
They're the
this is
apex
like
predator.
the nature people of the world. God bless them, like truly. But they're nature people that live in the city, so they don't really know what it's like off grid. Off grid, it's brutal, man. Like that's why
Oh
I go
yeah.
hunting. Is like there's something in your brain that just clicks that you're like, I don't get this when I'm running around the city. Like,
Yeah.
dude, the way that we live in the city is insane. It's so artificial.
Yeah. We're all worker ants. And it's almost like, you know
Yeah.
what? It's almost, we're more so worker bees. We got a hive
And
mentality.
who's the queen? Who's the queen? Jeff
Jeff
Bezos is
Bezos.
flying around. What a segue.
We didn't
Yeah,
plan
Jeff.
that. We did not plan that.
Oh man. But that's it, man. We slave away,
Yeah.
or I don't mean to use that verb because we are agreeing to this. I mean, it's not like I could just not be a hippie, but instead I decide to buy a house, which by the way, mortgage means death grip in Latin.
Yeah.
I said that like numerous times because that fact always blows my mind.
I mean, we're both into, like
Yeah.
our third or fourth year of mortgage now. It feels like a death grip.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, because
it's just not a good
you
time.
know what? But it's all a state of mind, man. Because
Yeah.
I remember when I was 15 and I broke up with my girlfriend for the first time, and I thought like I'd been shot, but I didn't even like her. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was dating her because I had to.
Oh man, my first girlfriend,
fuck.
I broke up with her, and then for like 4 months afterwards, we would call each other in the middle of the summer vacation. We'd call each other like crying, and it'd be midnight, and
Yeah.
I'd be like, "I missed you,"
I
and
miss
she's
you.
like, "I
I
miss you
miss
too." I'm
you.
like, and
Follow
literally,
along.
I broke up with her. Yeah, where are you? I broke
Miss
up with
you.
her because I just didn't want to have a girlfriend. And then I guess because
Yeah, you
you're
wanted a hot
15
boy
and
summer. You wanted a hot boy summer.
probably I was 15. But yeah, like
Yeah.
you start actually probably 16. I don't think my parents would let me date
Was
if I was
this
15.
sorry? Was this H?
No, it was a girl named Carolina.
Okay. Do you like how I kept that anonymity? I was
I
like,
did.
we know who this is. You've only had one
Yeah.
girlfriend with that name,
Yeah.
right?
I think so. But yeah, just
Hana.
kind of
No,
funny.
I'm just kidding.
Your first relationship and then breaking up with them, and you're like, oh, I don't actually want to break up, and you don't know you don't know what love or anything is at that point in
You
your
have
life.
no, but here's the thing: is that it feels so real, and that's why kids say like, "You don't understand me." So I think that's like, as I become a parent, I'm like, listen, I have to relate to this, even though I'm so disconnected from it, and I think that kind of ties into oneness with the world. Like if we just try to, my mother, excuse me, God bless her soul, she's one of the smartest people I've ever met. Only she does like, I come by it honestly. You know how I'm like, I'm probably wrong about everything. I don't know what I'm talking about. But then, I say something that's like, actually, that sounds like there was something there. Anyways, that's what my mom does. She's like, I don't get what's going on. And because I was talking about how some people just like, they forgot what it feels like to get punched in the face, for there to be consequences for the things that they say. And my mother was mortified. She was like, Robert, you can't think like that. And she was reaming me out. And then she's like, I'd like to believe, and this is the profound thing, I'd like to believe that we're all learning. And it's like, if you think that no matter what the person, where they're from, whatever, that if they're just learning, they're just trying to learn, then your outlook changes versus like people who make mistakes need to be punished. It's like people who make mistakes, they're learning. Like, man, have you ever been on a job site, a construction site? I am like, this is what I do. I think I'm a weak man. I can't build anything. And anyways, I had these kind of jobs growing up because that's what men are supposed to do. Yeah. Anyways, I have no idea how to work power tools. And people would be like, are you like, what's wrong with you?
Are you a slow boy?
And you're like, and that's that shame. No. That's that shame. But really, I was just learning. You know what I mean? I had never learned that before, and people are giving you a hard time. So you wonder why so many men are insecure to make mistakes. and why so many men, when they make mistakes, they feel inferior and they beat their chest. That's why people get pissed off.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
Oh, my screen just went off.
I was going on a rant there. My apologies.
Oh, no, that's good.
So,
but
to Bezos.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Or were you going to say something else?
Talking about guys compensating and beating their chest. Yeah,
his spaceship. It literally looks like a phallic missile.
It really does.
But you know what? What if he's just like a really good comedian and he's like, I know those stupid Earth people are going to laugh at this. And then here's the other thing I was thinking about while I was taking a dump is, okay, so what? They shoot themselves into space. Then what? What are they going to do? Like, this is how much I care. This is how much I care that I'm only thinking about this when I'm taking a shit. So obviously it's very important because that's the only time in my life I get a moment of respite.
Yeah. That's where the true authentic thinking goes on.
Yeah, when I'm free.
Yeah.
No, man, I love being a parent. I love being a parent. But anyways, the reality is, okay, so they're in space. Now what are they going to do?
Start trying to, there is, I did some research before talking about this. There is a treaty. Man. There's a space treaty that says that people cannot, I don't know if it covers all of space. It definitely covers the moon. But about 130 nations have signed on to this thing saying nobody can own the moon. So I don't know if it's the same thing. You can't own the moon.
It's like Antarctica. It's like Antarctica.
Yeah. So even it doesn't matter if you put your flag in and say, well, screw
you. Don't own the moon. NASA owns the moon.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know if it's the same way, but I feel like, they're going to be looking for a lot of resources in space because you can get a lot of molecules, a lot of dense material that we can't farm here anymore. So of course the billionaires are going for it because you got to get your own little puzzle piece of the pie. But I was also looking, and they're hoping to plan some civilian space trips here, and these tickets are probably going to go for, I don't know, maybe like $500,000 a ticket, and you'll go up on that. Yeah, the actual, apparently the first ticket was bid for 28 million. So I'll give you a brief little example here. I did some studying on the average Canadian salary. Apparently the average Canadian salary, like the median, is 120,000, which I don't know about you, but apparently that's the median, right? I guess it's because there's so many.
Are you talking about BC or are you talking about Canada?
No, all of Canada. So I'm guessing Toronto and BC probably.
No wonder there's so many, like, dude. Okay, well, we could talk about this in a second.
But so if you made $120,000 a year, it would take you 233 years to be able to afford that $28 million ticket. And I don't make $120,000. I don't know about you. I don't think you do either.
That's such a crazy point.
Right? Like,
well, dude, I don't even make, I make half of that. That's my salary.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I mean, that's why I'm doing this. I'm like, please, God.
So
I enjoy this. I enjoy this.
If people like you and me cannot afford to do this, then the people that can afford to do this probably don't need to be able to afford to do it. But anyways, I'm going to get back to my point about the rest of what they're doing on the space before we talk about it. Apparently you go on you kind of do a little loop around, you get to see the planet, you'll see the different continents, and then you land at the space station. I don't know what you do on the space station. I guess maybe, maybe they let you go and walk around. Rich.
It's kind of, dude, can I tell a joke?
Go for it.
So it's kind of like when you pay for backstage passes to meet like Ozzy or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, and you shake Ozzy's hand and you're like, hi, I'm the idiot that paid for this. Like, who's prospering here? So it's like, who's in whose territory? So they're going to fly up there, go on the space station, see a bunch of astronauts who that's what they do for a living, and just be like, hey guys, and then leave. Like, they essentially just did the KISS backstage pass to the space.
Except it was the most expensive one that they could ever
have
done.
I know. Like, okay, man. Here's the problem is that the inequality gap is, it's getting out of control. There's this book that I listened to because that's how fortunate I am. I get to work and listen to audiobooks. Crazy.
Tough
Anyways,
life.
yeah, exactly. I'm very fortunate. So, anyways, this book is called The Broken Ladders by Keith Payne, and he's saying that the inequality gap is just getting so out of control that it doesn't even make sense. And CEOs, some of them are taking like millions, and these are like just kind of whatever CEOs.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everybody's getting like 114,000. Not a chance, man. I'm getting half that.
Well,
That's crazy.
do you know what average Amazon employees make?
Oh,
$15.75. It's $15 like and 75 cents.
yeah.
So
So
that's nothing.
wow, that's insane. Here's
Yeah.
the question: is now the thing about inequality is that, and you have to check this book out because it's really good, because it's saying that it's talking about inequality, not necessarily poverty. So if the
Right.
inequality is there's a smaller gap, even though they're living at 70K, they're happier. But if it's
Yeah.
like 70 and 300, like it's a huge gap, like it's Jeff Bezos's versus you and I's in the same community, that actually kills us both. Because
Of
guess
course.
what? The Jeff Bezoses of the world have to deal with us all the time.
Yeah.
Although Robert Sapolsky, I got his book here. Yep, Robert Sapolsky, he says it's better to give ulcers than to get ulcers. Meaning that it's better to have power and tell people what to do than to be the one who's being told what to do. And I feel like that's self-evident.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the people on that side, they're usually the ones that are
Yeah.
I was writing a song the other day, and one of the lines in the song was actually talking about COVID. And it was basically just saying like we only really care about problems when the rich people, the line is actually, I think it's that which kills the king kills us all. So like they don't really care about anything until it's starting to really affect them. So in the
Did you
sense
come
of
up
what
with
you're,
that? Did you come up
yeah,
with that? That which kills the king kills us all. That's clever.
yeah.
I mean, don't let that get to
I'm sure someone else
your
has said it
head.
before, but
No, I
no, I
mean, that's,
appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah. It's kind of
But
like, you know what? And sorry to interrupt. I just heard this
yeah,
lyric today, and this
yeah,
person came up with this quote. It's always raining inside my head. That's Stained. But like, I was trying to see if that was like an older song or something. But
yeah,
anyways, it's almost like he invented that phrase. Well, you
yeah.
invented the phrase, that which kills the king kills us all. Like, that's crazy. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
But I mean, it kind of just, it gives light to what your point was about those that can give ulcers, because I mean, if you have the power behind you, then you can actually start making change. But you don't, it doesn't seem like anybody ever really makes the change for the little guy,
Okay. So can I
the
tell?
ulcer getters.
So there's a book that I want you to read, and I apologize, I got to use the internet here. But it's the autobiography of, oh no, I'm drawing a blank right now.
We need to get you on like you need to be like an advertiser for Audible,
Yeah, I know.
or Kindle or
Oh
something.
man, this is gonna Frederick Douglass, autobiography of Frederick Douglass. I'm sorry, everyone, for my slow processing. But yeah, in this book, he talks about how he was passed around like as a slave from house to house, and he went to one house and he met the sweetest lady ever, and she taught him how to read. She was a white slave owner, right? And she was repulsed. She was repulsed by the idea of slavery and wanted to help this person. And then her husband came home and he said, "What are you doing? If you give that person," pejorative term, an inch, they'll take it the L. So there was this fear even back then, or whatever, back then, that because people of the Black diaspora were slaves to America and to Canada, anyways, that if they became self-aware through literature, that they would do the Haitian Revolution kind of thing. Like there was a fear there. That's why they didn't want them to learn, because then they'd become self-aware. Kind of like if Google and AI became self-aware that we talked to it like such an asshole all the time, it'd smack us in the face. That was the fear back then. And
Yeah.
anyways, this woman, after hearing that and being scolded and having this fear inserted to her, started to treat Frederick Douglass like horribly, like, you know, being abusive and things like that. And she, this is what Frederick Douglass says, she became miserable because of it, because of that hatred that she had to
Mm.
sustain that was inhuman. It was killing her. And that is the
So
psychology of slavery.
so
It damages us all. Yes.
the gap became bigger because when it was at that point where she was talking to, trying to teach him to read, the gap wasn't as big. She was still treating him with some kind of human empathy. But you cut that out and you get rid of it entirely, and the gap becomes bigger. Now there's hatred.
And they also, it sounds like she became aware of the gross inequality. Just like
Yeah.
if you are super rich and then you really start to think about how other people have it, you either feel like, oh, you know what, I got it really good, because we're always comparing, right? Theodore
Yeah.
Roosevelt said, comparison is the thief of joy, some
Yep.
words to that effect. Anyways, he said that, and it's true, because if we compare ourselves upwardly, we're always like, oh my God, I'm such a failure, right? But if we compare ourselves looking down, we're either like, oh my God, I'm such a horrible person
I'm
because
so much better,
I'm a
or I'm so much better than them.
vampire, or it's like, man, I got it really good.
Yeah.
I should have an attitude of gratitude. And I think that the way the world is kind of constructing itself, it wants us to create enemies. And if we're like a Jeff Bezos, man, you're such an asshole, right?
Mm.
Then it's like, good, we're keeping that toxic alive, versus,
Yeah.
hey man, Jeff Bezos, you flew to the moon, like, have a good time. I like, you're that rich that nothing does it for you on earth. Like, no wonder you got divorced, man. Like,
Fair
think
enough.
about
I
that.
mean,
Like, you know what? Going to Venice is not that cool to me. Going to Venice and drinking 1,000-year-old wine is not that exciting to me. I'd rather ejaculate myself into the moon and likely blow myself up. Like,
yeah.
you know what?
Can
Maybe
you
he's not
imagine?
such a. Oh, go ahead.
Can you imagine if he had failed? Like if we were hearing in the news today, Jeff Bezos crashed and
Dude,
he's gone.
we'd be hearing about such a wonderful person he is. I'm telling you right now. That's how it'd be.
Yeah.
Be like Jeff Bezos, he was so selfless, right? And it's like
Yeah.
that pisses me off. Why can't we be more like that when the person's alive? I think the world would be a better place. Going back to what my mother said, that we're all just learning here, right?
Yeah.
Like, if we would just stop being assholes to each other, maybe if we stop being assholes, though, we would never have high achievers, right?
That's true. We would have the Jeff Bezos or the Elon Musk
Yeah.
or
People probably told him, hey, you want to make electric cars? You're an idiot. And he's like,
yeah.
you know what? It can go two ways. It can go Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, or it can go
Mhm.
Donald Trump. Okay, hear
Yeah.
me out. Remember, he made all those despairing comments against Obama, and Obama just bitch slapped him back. And he was like, he played the opening scene of Lion King, and he's like,
Mm.
because it was hinting that Donald Trump was like, he's not even born in America because he's such an idiot. He said that about Obama, right? He was like, you were born in Kenya, which is racist, obviously. Anyways, Obama played that video, and then he's like, hey, just for any idiots out there who think that this is my actual birth, it isn't. That's a Lion King. And Donald Trump was there, and he was like, you could see him. He was like, I'm going to get that guy. And then he
Yeah.
went and became the president. Like, that's insane. That's that level of drive. That guy is
Mm.
a narcissist genius. Donald Trump is
Or
deadly, man. Obviously.
yeah. I mean, give a guy enough ambition and he'll do anything, right? Like he'll overthrow a country.
Here's my rule is if somebody says that they're going to do something, I am never the person to say, you can't do that. Because if they go and do that, and I was an asshole to them, they're going to be like, see, told you so. But if I'm the guy who's like, yeah, man, you can do that. And like, I'm earnest, obviously, like I'm sincere, because that's what friends do. Anyways, but if I'm serious and I'm encouraging them and then they're successful, they're going to remember me and they're going to be like, hey, that guy believed in me, versus, but I wonder who's more motivating, the encourager or the person who's like, you're never going to amount to anything. And then would a true friend do that to encourage them? I don't know.
Uh, I think it's a mixed bag because I think you act and react the way that you're going to. And so some people would take that guy saying you're never going to make it and they'd be like, yeah, you're right. I'm going to go get a job at McDonald's because that's probably all I could do. Or some people are going to say, you know what, man? I'm gonna, and the day that I do, I'm gonna shove it in your face, or I'm just gonna prove you wrong. Don't not even need meaning to be like aggressive, but
Right.
it's I think it's the opposite of what we're saying right now. Like everybody's learning.
It's reverse psychology.
Yeah, like it depends on how are you gonna take this? Are you gonna let this be a lesson, or are you going to let this just be like a I don't know, I guess a
Here's
rut in the
here's
road.
here's the thing. Here's okay. Let's. I'm gonna back and forth on this because
Mm,
that's healthy. But what if you're just like, hey man, I believe that you can do it, but let's be realistic here. What are you doing to do it? Versus like, yeah, man, you could do it. Go for your dream. But that way, I'm like, hey, let's actually goal plan here. What are
yeah,
you doing to achieve your dream? Nothing. Okay, well, we
but
should
see,
probably
that's a
start
constructive
somewhere.
way of doing it.
Exactly. And I
Yeah,
think that that person is a true friend. That
yeah,
person is your Han Solo. Do you know what I mean? Because
yeah.
they're being real with you, but they're not being dicks and they're not being influencers. God, influencers. You know what, man? Forget Jeff Bezos. Influencers. Those people. Whew. See, I just did it right there. Those people. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
But
What do you
like
mean those people?
but I think that like hear me out here. I think
Mm,
influencers are making it harder for people again because it's that obvious inequality. It's like, look at me. I'm so beautiful. I pose for pictures. What's that Britney Spears song? She's so pretty. She's a star, but she
oh,
cries,
she's
cries,
so
cries.
lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
I mean, what
But
a
no,
great
that
song.
it's about Lucky is essentially who Britney Spears is. She was wrote the song about her own life.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it's just saying, you know,
Just
I got
living
all
in
the fame and
misery.
talent in the world, but I hate it.
Yeah. Dude, that song is a message. Like people are like free
Yeah.
Britney. There's your there like wear red if you're in trouble. It's like, hello, she wrote that song. I wonder
Mm,
if she wrote that song too. Anyways, but yeah, think sometimes what we're seeking is really is that and then we get there, it's like, shoot, was that really what I wanted?
mm.
You know? Like, oh, cool. I have a $200,000 watch I just bought and I'm showing the world or whatever. And it's like, dude, how lonely are you that that's what you're doing? Or person, whoever you are.
Or you
But
know,
showing off
spending
that, yeah, go ahead.
your dick space flight thing.
Yeah, I know, but
Like,
like it,
no, it's
it
what I'm
is pretty
saying. It's
funny though. Yeah, yeah, no,
yeah.
go ahead, please.
You know, yeah, good for you if you're able to, if you can actually afford a $200,000 watch and whatever else. Because I mean, I I don't think anything I own or will own in the near future is going to be valued at that. Maybe my house, but you know, I don't even own that. So, um, I think at that point, when you have that much money, especially when you have, you know, billions and billions of dollars and you're going up into
Yeah.
space about it, at that point, um, maybe you should be listening. Maybe you should be surrounding yourself with people that are kind of going to keep you humble because, you
Mhm.
know, they always tell you the way to success is to surround yourself with people better than you, like people, you know, wealthier
Who's
than you
better
or
than Jeff
smarter.
Bezos? Yeah.
Uh,
But
a lot of
I just
people in
given the
different
metric,
ways.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
I think maybe
Yeah.
when you get to his level, you got to surround yourself with people that remind you to be human.
Hmm.
Like, you got to be like, hey, man, maybe you don't need to spend $500 million to go into space. Maybe if you really don't need that money, you can give it to a country that really needs it. Like, I don't know, Haiti's been hurting for a long time. Cuba's not doing really good right now.
Hmm.
I mean, we've spoken to people in Africa that are having their own personal issues,
Right.
and that's just South America
Nigeria.
and
Yep.
like Central America and Africa. Like we got problems all over the world, and you want to go fly into space and start flying people into space and having them spend $250,000 on a ticket.
Yeah. So the
I
other
mean,
people, wait. So the people on that plane, the other people, they were paid passengers.
No, they have to pay.
The people, so the 18-year-old,
think
he paid to do that.
no, I think the 18-year-old actually, I think he went on for free. He was like, this is your special lucky day. You know, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, he won the golden ticket.
Dude, that is still like,
Can you
that
imagine?
is, you know what? Okay, so here's my bit, my counter bit.
Mm.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. I mean, I totally get what you're saying. It's like inequality makes us sick. It does.
Yeah.
It makes us sick. Anytime that we see, like anytime that we're watching things that it's like, oh, that must be nice, and that's our thought process, that's actually killing us. If you don't believe me, check out Broken Ladder by Keith Payne. Anyways, and I had this thought, it's just going to keep, if we keep thinking about like, oh, must be nice, it's going to keep making us sick until we eventually just learn how to be happy for them. Like it's, hey man, dude, that's really cool that you shot yourself into the moon and you're doing that.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's cool. Like, for example, Batista, the wrestler, his nickname on there is poor kid who chased his dreams. And it's Batista, like from the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, what an encouraging thing. Yeah. And he's like, he's talking about doing a movie with John Cena and The Rock. And he's like, no way. Like, I would rather stay true to myself and not work with those people. Cause I guess maybe they're hotheads. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had a reason, but there comes a point when it's like, I just want to be happy and enjoy my life, but still pursue my goals. Like if my goal is to shoot myself into space, maybe if I really put my mind to it, I can do it. But I don't know if I really want to. Do you really want to go to space? Do you really want to go to space?
Not particularly.
Hell no, man. That sounds like a one-way ticket. That doesn't sound like a return. Space, the final frontier. Like, okay,
every movie I've seen about that has not ended well.
Yeah, in space,
you guys ever
nobody
seen
will
Alien?
hear you scream. Yeah, like, I mean,
not saying that that's real, but but I don't want to find out.
You know what, dude? I don't know about you, man, but like, there has to be other forms of life.
Oh, of course.
Right?
I mean, I'm going. This is coming from a religious standpoint. I am the member of the group that I'm a Christian. I grew up in that household, that style of living, and I maintain this belief that no part in the Bible does it say there's
no part in the storm.
Yeah, no part in the story does it say that there's no aliens. No part in the entire literal works of what that religion and theism in the Kama Sutra, I'm sure in Buddhist teachings, there's nothing that says there's no other life out there.
Saying the Karma Sutra?
Oh, not the Quran. Wow, that was bad.
In the Karma Sutra, there's no aliens.
Yeah, it doesn't say that either. Well, I hope not.
I don't know. I mean, we should investigate.
I was not trying to be offensive there, people. I
know.
Legitimately a brain fart.
But that was awesome. Yeah. That was a great.
But the Quran, like anything, like there's no. Yeah. It doesn't say that there's not anything out there. I truly believe there is.
Well, what if we're just shooting onto Mars and we're gonna live on Mars and redo that? Earth dies, and then we overuse Mars because we're idiots. And then we're like, oh, well, we got to go back to Earth. And we just island hop. Man, Earth is like, here's the thing. If you think about it, Earth is like one big system. They call it Gaia. A guy who came up with that anyways, he wrote a book on Gaia. But how there's like a livingness to the Earth that I don't know how the hell you would translate that to Mars.
No.
Like, our Earth is livable and we're trying to get off of it. Like, are you nuts? Why don't you put money into trying to fix this thing? I mean, this is our only shot.
Yeah.
Excuse me. This is our only shot. Like, why are we trying to throw this away?
I mean, like, there's the studies that they do on things like light speed and everything. There's technically, I mean, they'll say they can reach it one day. There's technically no real human way that we can move at light speed. It's just, it's not possible for us to go that fast. And we would have to go that fast to get to other places. So I mean, even going to Mars, I think is like I don't remember how long they sent the Starship voyage out there, Perseverance, but it was going for like, I remember the time between it must have been months that it finally got there. And they actually, when they do things,
It's about 7 months. The trip
yeah,
to Mars will take about 7 months.
there
But
you
think
go.
about
Yeah.
that. Think about, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but think about when the Europeans
Yeah.
sailed from Europe to uh,
To the new
America.
world.
Yeah. So do you remember the game Assassin's Creed, the third one, and it was the American Civil War?
I
Or
never
the
played it, but
American,
yeah, I
the
saw it.
War of Independence? Well, the
Yeah, yeah,
beginning of it, you're on a boat and you're on a boat for like, it feels like ever. And you're like, oh my God, is this ever going to end? And it's like, well,
yeah.
this is probably a realistic
This
simulation
is a small taste of what it was like there.
from, yeah,
Can you
Atlantic.
imagine being on a boat all day, every day for like months? No iPad,
About
no
3 to 4
books.
weeks. About three to
Wow.
four weeks.
Wow. Yeah.
And now it takes a day to get there in a plane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we mastered that technology. Who's to say that,
That's true. That's true.
right? Like
This
who
other
knows?
technology.
Maybe there's like solar winds in space or something. I mean, now I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, but
The only way we would be able to do that fast is literally, it sounds super sci-fi, but the only way we would be able to travel that far, that fast is wormholes. We would
black
literally have to
holes, right?
teleport. No,
Yes.
wormholes. It's a,
So it's
I don't even
different.
know if they're real things. Black holes kind of, there's nothing on the other side. Whereas a wormhole, you go in, you come out on the other side, you don't know where, but um a black hole, I don't think you could, I mean, we don't know because nobody's ever survived through one, but I feel like you're not going to survive through that.
So this is what it says when I Googled it. I should be
Mm.
adding these quotes in here, by the way. Sorry about that.
That's all good.
The main difference is that no object can theoretically get back out after entering a black hole's event horizon, which is you're
Yeah.
inside the black hole now. The threshold where the speed needed to escape the black hole's gravitational pull exceeds the speed of light, whereas any object entering a wormhole could theoretically reverse course. Dude, that's insane.
Yeah.
So if you're stuck in a black hole, you drown in space?
It essentially, you're not in a, I think I remember Dr. Lana McDonald telling us about this,
Yeah.
but
We got to get
they
it back
don't, they
on, by the
still,
way.
absolutely. I sound like I'm butchering this stuff. She's gonna say it like, but I think you go out of, you're not out of reality, but you're out of kind of like time. So like everything's warped there, and I mean, yeah,
Maybe
you're
that's
stuck.
eternity. Maybe that's eternity, and you're just there
Maybe,
forever. It's Sheol, what the Jewish people described. That
yeah,
was called
maybe it's
Sheol.
heaven or hell, maybe that, or purgatory.
Yeah,
We don't know. It's the same thing as
that's
when you die. I mean, nobody comes back to say, "Hey, that's what it was like dying." I mean, I think there are stories of people that have had like near death
that's
experiences, but
not that doesn't count.
nobody goes
I'm,
and dies and comes back like 3 days later, except one guy that they were talking about. But
which made yeah. I mean, but there are stories of other resurrections. Just
yeah,
listen to
yeah,
Lamb of God.
yeah,
Resurrection. That's a great band. Okay, so while the Hebrew Bible describes Sheol as the permanent place of the dead, in the Second Temple period, Sheol is considered to be the home of the wicked dead, while paradise is the home of the righteous dead until the last judgment. So see how that was kind of like entered in there? I mean, the idea of the afterlife has been developed
mm,
through the ages as we've communicated.
yeah.
I mean, you think about it, man. Communication put Jeff Bezos on a rocket ship and shot him out of the stratosphere with an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And there's an 83-year-old. Like you're asking for a behavior personality crisis on that thing. You have an
Yeah.
83-year-old and for all intents and purposes, a teenager. What did you do when you're 18? You were lost in
Uh,
space.
what was 18? Actually, you know what? Let's actually do this. 18 was 14 years ago,
Yeah.
and that would have been
Oh,
2007.
14 years.
What was I doing in 2000? I was going to Warp Tour. Like
That's sick, man.
that's
That's awesome. You went to
yeah,
Warp Tour and you were a
yeah.
kid and you
I didn't
probably
go to
like talked to
I didn't go to
girls and
space,
stuff.
but oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he was
Who's
talking to girls on the spaceship, but
well, he ain't
that's
sure as hell ain't now.
a better story than I had. You know, dinner table conversation. Yeah, I've been to the moon. I've been to
Yeah, I
space.
mean, provided he gets back. I mean,
Yeah,
dude, that's crazy, man. 18 years old. Like, I jumped out of an airplane. I've told the story many times. I jumped out
yeah,
of an airplane when I was like 28. And even
yeah,
then, I was like, I am too young for this shit.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And I wasn't even that high
yeah.
in the air.
In the air, guys.
Yeah, no, but really. And then this
I
kid's
don't
like,
think you should do that. Yeah,
what's that?
I was gonna say I don't think you should do that experience and being the other kind of high.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, or maybe even just be complete, like, I
maybe
don't know.
serenity,
This is it.
bliss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think that when you start to compare less and just
mm,
be like, there's like, what is it? There's admiration and there's like jealousy,
yeah,
right? Like when somebody does something like this teacher that I have, I love this guy, man. He's one of my favorite human beings. I'm trying to get him on the show still. But anyways, he told me that he would watch skateboarders and they would do crazy tricks. And he's like, you have two choices when you see something like that. You can say
mm,
like, that's stupid and be jealous or whatever. Or be like, whoa, that's really cool. I'm so proud of this person for being able to do that because I could never do that. And
yeah,
that's a choice that he took so he could continue on with his day. Because if he's like, man, screw that guy, he can do a 900 and I can't. All day he's going to be thinking about how
oh,
inferior
it's so
he is.
dumb how you can do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
versus like, man, that's really cool, and just carries on with his
Yeah,
day, hangs out with his kids, which to him is really cool, right?
yeah,
And then he's just a happy guy.
yeah.
One of the
I
most
mean,
beautiful human beings I've ever met.
I had a customer give me an actual. He was an older customer, and they always, I like to listen to the way they talk, and they like to talk. They like to tell their story because they don't get to
Mhm.
talk that much, especially during
And
COVID.
people don't listen. Yeah.
No, so when a young guy like
Even before
myself is
COVID.
listening,
Yeah.
yeah, so a young guy like me listening, they start talking, and he said the only time I've ever heard negativity do a damn lick of good is in a battery, and I was like, that's so simple and so profound. I love it. Like,
Wow. Oh, and
yeah,
how
like
old was this guy? How old was this
he was
guy?
in his 60s or something, so
Wow,
around my
60
dad's
isn't
age.
that old. You made him sound like he was in
Yeah.
his 90s.
No, no, but that's the older clients, I should say, but
Yes.
they always have there's
Advanced in age. They like that one. Advanced in
advanced in
age.
wisdom.
These
Yeah.
wisdom possessors. I mean, that's why in cultures they call them elders, not
Yes.
seniors, elders. Like they had knowledge because they had experience.
We should
Yet
start using that
nowadays,
word more.
what's that?
Like we should just call them the elder community, not the
Yeah,
senior
man. Well,
community.
that's what my friend Margettis does. She calls them. She doesn't call
Hmm.
them seniors because seniors implies like, oh my god, they're
You're
weak,
old, you're
right? There's an
drooling, you're
inferiority to that
yeah,
is of our own design. You know what I mean? It's just a word, but yet we're
yeah.
like, we've weaponized that word. Whereas elder, that's like right now that's a very hot word. Who knows? Maybe in 10 years it could be like, oh my
Mm.
god, don't call me an elder, like call me a senior,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we fuck words up all the time. Anyways, but yes,
That's always a
elders,
pendulum swing.
it's always a pendulum swing. But yes, elders, it's like they have something, they have the experiences, and
Mm.
they love sharing it. I mean, think about I love sharing the picture about my dad who killed a grizzly bear, and he's not
Yeah, it
even,
was great.
excuse me, he's not even around anymore, right? Like that's insane. That's how powerful stories are. But
Mm.
man, it's so much better to hear it from the person who lived it.
Oh yeah. That's they have a certain just little twinge of this little
Yeah.
intricacy goes there, that goes there.
Yeah.
They're able to just bring that home.
Like when I
Um,
hunted that deer, it's like I experienced every feeling. When I
oh yeah,
saw the car accident, I experienced every feeling. It's
yeah,
first person. I can tell you about my emotions.
yeah.
Whereas when it's a third person, we can only just guess what the emotions were, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know the first time that I met your daughter, for example, it was really cool for me, but in no way was that similar to the first time you met her, right? Like that's the third
Dude, the
person,
first
first
time I
person.
met her, it was terrifying, man. I was like,
Yeah,
I was honestly in shock. I was like,
yeah.
what is
You're
going
like, oh
on?
crap.
My
But
whole
oh my
way of
goodness,
living.
but
Like
yeah,
I was just like,
you
I've
probably
never,
mentally aged like 10 years that day. Like
I
just
was
like
just like,
that.
it was so real. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. People are like, it's the most beautiful moment ever. It's okay, whatever, sure. But what it was for me is it was the most like whoa moment that's brought me back to earth, because we could think our way through anything. We could be like,
Mm,
oh yeah, when I'm a parent, I'm going to do this, that, and the next thing. But then whatever until that moment comes. Like when I win $1 million, I'm going to give it all to charity. You win $1 million, like shit, I got to pay off my house.
yeah, I'm gonna go to the bank.
There it goes, right?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like one of these, we can pontificate what we would do, but until that moment, and then that
Mm,
moment came, and I was like, oh my God, I really don't know what I'm doing. I
yeah,
really don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do my best, just like what my parents did. And I
yeah,
think, again, there's that switch in your mind. If you say people are just trying to learn here, they're trying to learn.
yeah,
And if they're able to shoot themselves out in a ship that looks like a massive dildo, go for it, right?
yeah,
They obviously learned something. I mean, it sounds like there's more to learn,
yeah.
because nobody's perfect. But
There's that
it's like,
there I
yeah,
was gonna say there's that my screen just went off again. There's that whole thing that we were talking about earlier where um if the wealth gap increases, then there starts to get envy, jealousy, and hatred on the other side. And so that's why I come in here and I'm like, why the
mhm.
heck is Jeff Bezos going to the moon? He's sure out space. He should be doing something good with his money. But that's we're not doing the point of view that you're talking about, where it's like maybe he could actually do some good. Maybe he can find something really awesome out there. We just always go for the, oh, I don't have it, but
Must be nice.
yeah. So maybe we need to stop thinking about must be nice, because I mean, at the end of the day, if we really want to say must be nice, there's people that are looking at you and me and saying must be nice.
It,
Yeah, there it is. Grizzly bear
yes,
down.
yeah, man. The
Yeah,
Revenant. That's what I'm
yeah.
trying to say. Is that comparison? And I'm just typing that. Is the theft or thief of joy?
Mm.
You remember who said that?
Theodore Roosevelt.
Teddy. That's right. The
Yeah,
man who the teddy bear is named after. Did you know that?
yeah. I,
You did know that?
I did not know that. I thought it
Okay,
was
I was
too,
gonna say, damn it, I thought that was my Jeopardy
no,
knowledge.
I thought it was going to be too convenient for him to just teddy bear be
Yeah.
named after him. But wow,
Oh, yeah, teddy bear named after.
that's a good one for our Fun Facts Thursday that we definitely need to start doing again.
Yeah, yeah. Here it is. Here, you ready?
Yeah.
So, Teddy, I'll read this one out. The teddy bear is named after U.S. President Theodore Teddy Roosevelt. In 1902, President Roosevelt participated in a bear hunting trip in Mississippi. While hunting, Roosevelt declared the behavior of the other hunters unsportsmanlike. After he refused to kill a bear they had captured.
So he's like, it's not
Wow.
free. This not doesn't work, boys. You can't do that.
So he killed the bear. Wow. Well, but there you go again. I wonder if people back then, when the teddy bear was named after him, they were like, what an asshole.
Yeah, I
You know
can't
what
believe
I
they named
mean?
after
Right? Like,
that guy.
I wonder if they experienced that inequality as well. And
Well,
my
probably.
imagination is they probably did. But now
Yeah.
it's becoming so much more evident that it's like we all try to we're all just having pissing contests on social media,
Mm,
or so it seems.
hmm.
Although I like to believe that, the goal of this show is to get less of that, because it's
Yeah.
fake, man. The more you have, sometimes the less you want. There was a study done years ago, years ago, 2010, if you can believe it, that's 11 years ago. And
A
somebody
decade
did a
ago.
study.
That's insane.
Yeah, somebody did a gap on happiness, wealth. And it's like 70K a year is like the perfect amount. Okay, I'm just going to copy and paste this. The exact amount of money, because
just
at
said
some
70K.
point, yeah, let's say it's 70, but due to inflation, that would be about 93.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think due to inflation, it'd be around 93. Anyways, so you reach that number. Once you start making any more than that, your happiness doesn't change.
Or you
So if
capped
you're
out.
if you make 1 million, you're just as happy if you make 3 million. So the study goes. I would love to be the participant in that category and to tell you if that's true or not. But anyways,
yeah.
But they're saying that 80K is, and then lower than that, you're not happy, right? If you're at 40K, you're not happy. Like, it's not just saying that if you have nothing, you'll be fine. You do need something to survive.
Of course. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's why. What's your favorite rap song of all time?
My favorite rap song of all time. That's a tough one, because I like so many different kinds of rap. I mean, like, I like guys that are modern in today's day and age, and I like guys that are like, DMX or not DMX, Run DMC and DMX, but I don't know. I would have to go with something by NF is one of my favorite rappers right now. I would have to go to something by him. But I don't think I'd have to think about that.
For me, my all-time favorite rap song is Changes by Tupac.
Yeah. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, of course.
It's a great song. I mean,
but it brings up such a good memory, because I remember I rapped that song one time at the last Liquor Hacienda, and Steve was like, he kissed me on the cheek. He was like, what? Because I was just like, I was spitting it. Like, I knew it. And I believed it, because I see no changes. And he's talking about there's war on drugs, but the police, they got to bother me. Like, we should try and answer poverty. Some words to that effect. But anyways, I got to be in the mindset. I'm never perfect. It's time to fight back. That's what Huey said. 2 shots in the dark. Now Huey's dead. That's talking about Huey Newton, I believe, who was killed by the FBI because he was preaching Black Power. And it's like, that song was written in 1996. Black Lives Matter, 2015, still to this day.
Still relevant. Right?
So again, there's that inequality. There's still inequality that we need to resolve it. And I think that in this book, there's one example of a CEO who he was making $3 million, and he decided to make everybody's pay to raise it to 70K. And they said, well, we can't do that. And he's like, fine, then pay me 70K. So he got paid 70K, and everybody under him got paid 70K. And the 2 other CEOs who were getting paid $2 million each, they had to quit because they're like, we can't have that much similarity. And then all his employees pooled in and bought him a Tesla. So there's a closing of the wealth gap there. But we have to close it within our minds, and we have to close it socially and economically. And I don't know if privately shooting a person who sends me random shit to my house that I really don't need, like books and things like that, if that's really the person who should be going to the moon. But then ultimately, it's me who sent him to the moon. So I should again look at myself. You see,
he actually had a quote about that. He said, all you people that work for Amazon and you people that buy Amazon stuff have made this possible. And he actually pissed a lot of people off, because they were like, well, how about instead of going to the moon, you pay your workers a little bit more, and you give us a little bit safer work environment.
That's why I love Bernie Sanders. That's why I love Bernie Sanders. But that's also why he resigned. He resigned. He can wash his hands clean. Here's the psychology of slavery again. I'm really sorry if I'm like all over the place here. Do you mind if I drop one more?
Go for it.
So we have to make, there will always be an enemy. Yeah. It was the Nazis in 1945, and rightfully so. Then it was the communists. Before that it was religion, and then it was, England and stuff like that, or
Yeah.
France, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, it was
I can't
whoever
remember
was
what
the bad guy at
it was
that
the
point.
empires.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Take your pick.
now, but we always have to have an enemy. So if we
Hmm.
stop making enemies out of the world, then I think, I know this sounds kind of foo-foo, but then it's like maybe that can also close the gap psychologically and realistically, because it's like, I really don't understand why. Like, what do you have to do with $10 million? Like, why do you need that much money? But like, honestly, tell me.
Don't
And then
really.
somebody's like, well, because Alex Trebek, he donated tons of money, right? And it's like,
Right.
well, I do this. I volunteer my time in Africa, stuff like that. Like, if you hear these stories, then you're like, okay, you're not such a bad person. But it's kind of like, what do you think when you think of a Trump supporter?
Uh,
By the way, I hate
on it.
Donald Trump. So
No, I don't take the time to actually talk to them because I just assume right off the bat, oh, you like Trump, you're uneducated, you're racist, you don't care about people,
you assume.
yeah. I just assume you're a bigot, and I should do that, but I mean, that's what our world is like. Same thing with, Democrats and Republicans. God forbid you talk to each other, or it actually, remember the story Romeo and Juliet? They
Yeah.
couldn't marry
Yes.
each other.
Yes.
There are houses down in the States. I've spoken to people in the States where they have disowned their children because they married a Democrat and they were a
Yeah.
Republican family. Like that's some deep rooted hatred for probably nothing we really need to hate each other for.
Well, but that's just it. So we have these ideas in our head of what a Republican is, what a Trump supporter is, what
Yeah.
XYZ is. We have these ideas, but those ideas again are being created just like the idea of the Nazi German was.
Mm.
I'm not saying the Nazis didn't do terrible things. Obviously, they did, the Holocaust and so many other
Yeah.
atrocities, but not all those soldiers did that. Do you know what I mean? And some soldiers, maybe they had no idea, or they were led to believe. I mean, shit. What did they do with slavery? They had to make it seem like, like it's okay that these people are inferior, whoever these people were, be it Germans,
Yeah.
Japanese, the Black diaspora, Irish,
Mm-hmm.
whoever. This person has to be an other. We have to dehumanize them so that we can get ahead.
Yeah.
And the reality is, like I said, is that when we dehumanize others, it costs us our own health. Because guess what? Like I said, you get to know a Trump supporter and you're like, okay, so why are you a Trump supporter? And then they tell you some crazy shit. And you're like, okay, but is that true? And you're respectful and you're kind. And then they go away and they're like, oh man, maybe I am getting fooled here. Right. But if I'm like, you're a Trump supporter, what the hell's the matter with you? You're an idiot. Then they're going to be like, well, fuck you. Right.
Well, fuck you too then. Yeah.
So, and that's the end of the conversation. And guess what? Do you think that's going to make them any less a Trump supporter? No, it's going
No.
to make
And
them
did you learn
more so.
anything that day?
No, you'd
No.
exactly. Right.
No, yeah.
So it's
Actually, I'll give you an example of that. I actually had this conversation with somebody that was a Trump supporter, and they were telling me that one of the reasons that they were from, where was it? Michigan. They were from Michigan, and he actually straight up, without a doubt, looked at me in the eyes and said, that is a, hand to God, greatest man ever. And I was like, how can you think that?
see, that's
Because
a cult leader.
yeah,
That's a
but
cult leader.
listen to what the reason, and once I heard the reason, I was kind of like, you got a point. He was explaining that I guess there was a bunch of car factories that were down in the United States in Detroit that were going to be sold to I think it was a Mexican company or something, or they were going to be moved down there so that they could lower the cost of their production. And he said, no, you know what? These stay here. These American companies stay in America. We're not outsourcing things like that. And because of that, thousands of people were able to keep their jobs in Detroit. So if you're a guy, you're just here working your 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, you're no one special, but you got a family and you got to provide for them. And you're a hard worker. You not the employee of the year, but you've been working hard, and the boss comes out and says all of our jobs are going to be lost. This is being relocated down to somewhere else. But then this president comes around and says, no, you get to keep your job. I'd probably think he was a pretty cool guy too. He just saved my family.
But hear me out. Hear me out.
Mm.
That's what's being told to them.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what's being told to them. That's not the truth. The reality is,
Sure.
do you know, are you, I just learned this term. I'm not trying to be like, look what I know. But are you familiar with austerity, political economic policies? Are you familiar with austerity, political economic policies?
Not a damn clue.
So what
I'll
it
be
is
honest.
it's budget cuts. It's saying like white privilege is a thing. It's like a weird like, oh, you're white privileged, and you are benefiting from things, but it's also being used against us. Like, for example, the unequal gun laws in the States. I know this because I read this book, Dying of Whiteness. There's kind of three things. There's poor health care, absurd gun laws that are completely like, think about it this way. You have open conceal in, say, Florida, but if a black person has a firearm on them, they're going to get taken out.
Oh, of course.
Right. Whereas a white guy can walk around with a firearm, no problem. And I'm sorry,
but
there's some logic to this.
Those two lawyers stood with AR-15s on their property,
exactly,
pointing them at people, and they didn't get shot.
Yeah. Imagine for a second if those were Latina people.
Yeah.
In a poor neighborhood.
Yeah,
exactly. It would have been a completely different reaction, right? So white privilege is a thing. And again, it's like this weird mystical spell that's over us, and we're like, we have to protect this. The other is going to do this, and that's what Donald Trump did. Is he scared people into thinking, who else does that sound like? That there's another enemy. Mexicans. Didn't he say Mexicans are like rapists and drug dealers? Like, really, all Mexicans are like that? Oh, lost you. I was on a roll.
Oh, did I?
There you go. Did your phone die?
Hey. No, my mom called me. Literally, my mom called me, and I'm using my phone today, so it literally just everything shut down. I was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, I was on a roll. Sorry,
Maxine.
Too. No, that's okay.
Yeah.
So, shoot, what was I saying? But I just, okay. So it's Donald Trump has made people other people, and that has also got them to vote for him. So what I'm saying is that people have been duped by this guy saying that he has their best interests, when guess what? Does Donald Trump have anybody's best interests? Whose best interest does he have?
His own.
There you go again. And maybe Jeff Bezos, he's trying to do something good for the world. Maybe he is trying to figure it out. But Donald Trump, is he trying to make the world a better place? Maybe he just is doing it for himself. Maybe he is. But guess what? He's doing it on another planet.
Yeah.
He's being an asshole off this earth. That's great. Right? Yeah. But I mean, again, I do think that it's important to try and believe that people are learning. And for the example, this person who's a Trump supporter, right? You were trying to understand them instead of like, you're a demon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you insult people, you're not helping them.
No, you're demonizing them.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if we think evolutionarily speaking, the word demonize, enemy, all these things, what would that have been before? Like, I'm sure we have many terms for enemy, obstacle, opponent, blah, blah, blah. What were these things before we had language? Yeah. What were they? Take a guess.
Just things.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
Before we
that thing
labeled them,
is,
they were nothing.
yeah, they were just things. Like, dude, that thing's scary. That's a giant cat
Mm.
with big teeth. I don't want to fuck around with that thing unless I got a group
Yeah.
of us together, right? But it was never like they're so fierce and mean and they eat the bones of children and stuff. You know what I mean? And people are like, I hate saber tooths, right? And like
Mm.
they just went on a rampage. Although saber tooths are extinct. So obviously a hatred was developed
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
human beings hunted them down. Maybe language is what I honestly think that language is what got that guy in the moon. And yeah, like, isn't that crazy that I think that that's where human beings evolved is in language?
Yeah. Because language is all. I mean, there's words. There's words now that you know the word yeet, like
It's in the
YEET.
dictionary.
It's in the dictionary.
Yeah,
Like words
it's a
that were like
term.
that's not a word. That can't be a real word. No, it's language has been growing for thousands of years.
I wonder if BT and fart
Maybe.
and way. I wonder if way is in there.
I
We
mean,
should submit that.
do we even have a definition for what that word means?
Yeah, it means like unreal.
Hey,
Like it
what's
means
up?
it's just
Way.
it's like you know how it's a throwaway statement like way, like it's also a calling
Yeah,
card, like if you're looking for your buddies, way, they're
true.
like, oh, Rob Grant's over there, think about it,
Yeah,
man. Way is like I've made that, like I've made that a term. I don't use it
yeah,
anymore because I'm not an idiot, right? Because it
yeah.
is,
Or
but sometimes something will happen, I'll be like, oh, like,
way.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's what I mean is, hey man, we got to enjoy those moments growing up, right?
yeah.
Those were formative years, despite them being stupid at times.
I don't remember a bunch of them, but yeah, they were great.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder what's the trade-off is what I'm saying. Is do you really want to go to the moon? Or would you rather have had those experiences with a friend? I wonder if Jeff Bezos has ever had a good time since becoming super rich in his life, or if people have always just been using him.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't think I would have traded any of my childhood memories to go to the moon, but hey, you know what? Maybe when your daughter's a teenager and she has her teenage experiences, maybe going to the moon is normal. And maybe
Who
my
knows?
screen would stay on for 5 minutes.
I don't know, man. I'm still like, how people are not sold about the vaccine, right? Which fine.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to see 3 years. I want to see what this venom does to you. Fair enough. I'm like
Mhm.
that with space travel. I'm like, you guys figure this out. I'll see how it is in 10, 15 years. I'm an anti-space
Yeah.
traveler,
Yeah.
right? Like you go right ahead. It's also like if these super rich people are getting the vaccine, it's like, okay, if Magic
Mm.
Johnson and other celebrities are getting it, I think I'll be all right.
Yeah.
I'm still here, so I'm
Yeah.
I'm the Elton John of
Man,
vaccination.
that would be the worst way to die, in my opinion. To die in a not COVID. That would still suck, but to die in like a space like a space shuttle or even an airplane in like a vehicle that's slowly coming down and you have no control over it and it's just you're gonna die. It's not happening now. It's happening in maybe like 2 minutes, but like that would just suck.
Well, and who knows, for example, if you die in space, what that's like. Like, say you get sucked out into space and you
Mm.
get like eviscerated, something awful. Like just think about the worst possible thing. Like your your your
Yeah.
your head squishes like a grape.
Yeah.
Who's to say that because of your brain synapses and your heartbeat and stuff, because you're in space, that you're still alive after that happens? Like maybe because you die instantly here because of oxygen or something like that. Who knows what it's like to die in space? It could be like awful because
Well, if you don't have the
I mean,
mask
death
on,
is
you
awful to begin with. Yeah,
I don't think
you
yeah.
freeze.
But if you don't have the mask on or like your suit on, I think you just preserve. Yeah, you don't decompose.
But But the thing is that if you're in the Earth's orbit, or if you're in the moon's orbit, you're going to get cooked by the sun.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you might be preserved, and then it's going to be like,
Yeah, you'll be
or
preserved
so
until
I
the Earth
imagine.
rotates. Until
Yeah,
you
yeah.
rotate far enough and you're like, oh, crap.
Which, by the way, apparently, if you're, I forget how this was, but the further out you are, but still in the atmosphere, the faster you go. So you could see the sun like revolving every 20 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that. So you have to be really quick. I heard this in a Joe Rogan podcast. I was like, that was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be really fast. And he was trying to fix this thing. And then what he realized is he's like, wait a minute, I'll heat it up. And then like with the side beams of the rays, and then I'll put it in there. And then he figured it out before the equipment blew, because it would have got cooked by the sun. And then it would have been like $8 billion lost. Something crazy. But ultimately, like, what is money?
Imagine being the savior of the guy that saves 8 billion. That's a good day.
Yeah, you'd be throwing him a good staff party, I imagine.
Yeah, you getting him a raise.
Yeah. So in conclusion, what do you think of the whole thing? Now that we've had this conversation.
Space race back in the 60s made more sense to me because we were doing it for exploration, and I mean, essentially at the end of the day, it was arms race to see which country was the best. But I don't know if we need to have individual humans doing it. I would like to believe that we should focus at least a little more of our time over the next maybe decade to trying to fix the planet we're on instead of trying to go to a new one.
Yeah.
Like,
although
we can fix this. We can.
I agree. What's the purpose? I mean, although it would be like just so bizarre to see multi-billionaires and millionaires launching themselves into space just to get blown up and being like, what the
yeah,
like, is life that bad? Like, is being rich that bad that you have to like do the most risky behavior? Because you know that if this is the start, there's going to be more of these privatized things. And it's like, I don't know I don't know how enjoyable it all sounds, to be completely honest. But see, that's me rationalizing it so that I can be happier.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. I think, you know what, if you got the money to do it, and if this is what makes you happy, I don't see why I would do it, but I don't have billions of dollars. But if it makes him happy, and if there's a good reason, that's the point. I think that's my point there is you said there's a purpose. If you have a purpose for this, then sure, go for it. Yeah, if you're just doing this to say I went to space because I'm cool, like, dude, come on. The purpose of life is more than just looking cool.
Yeah, but maybe even like that's almost like, instead of being like, oh, you're such a bad person, just be like, man, I feel sorry for you. Like, that's the ultimate passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Shoot back. Like, like when people do really extravagant things and waste a bunch of money on like stupid accessories, then it's like, man, who are you trying to impress? Obviously not happy, right? Because if you didn't care what you wore, you'd dress like a dad. See what I did there? I'm trying to make myself feel better about
listen to Yacht Rock.
Yeah. Like, I do think there's something to meditation and being mindful and just, I know this sounds cheesy, but an attitude of gratitude. It's helped me.
Yeah.
Because I used to be such a comparative person. I think that's kind of part and parcel with human nature, to be honest.
Well, when you talked about this in the very beginning, we started this conversation off and said that when you get back to nature, you really simplify things for yourself. And I think one of the major side effects of living in this rat race society that we live in is we compare ourselves constantly. We think, oh, I need a little bit more. If I get a raise, I can afford that house. If I get this, I can afford that. If I get this, my kids can go to here and then they can enjoy it. And if we stopped doing that, like you said, if you just tried to find a little more time to slow things down, meditate, be grateful. I used to do this thing every morning where I wrote 5 things down that I was grateful for. I stopped doing it. I don't know why, but it puts you on the proper mindset for the day. Like,
Mhm.
hey, I'm not waking up as a piece of shit. I have stuff. I have good things. I'm happy. Like, we need to slow down and stop having this mentality that every minute is a potential dollar to earn. And maybe it's just every minute is a potential dollar to earn. It should be every minute is a potential moment to earn. Like,
I like that. I like that. So have you ever met a really, really wealthy person?
once or twice in my life, I'm like not super, super wealthy, but I've met people that are pretty well off.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how were they as people? Were they as happy as
Um,
you? Were they happier? Were
you
they
can,
not as happy?
they were happier, but I feel like they were, it's very much like if you talk to somebody that has never gone through something, but they talk like they have, you can kind of tell. Um, like they
Right.
just don't seem like they're not all there. Their world is a very different world than the normal
Mhm.
human
Their
being.
problems
Like,
are not your problems. Would you? Is that what you'd say?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah,
What about just as an example, because there are cases of this. Think about Bruce Wayne, and both his parents were like killed when he was a kid, but yet
yeah,
he's like super rich, uses that money to be a vigilante. So
yeah,
obviously this is fictional. But anyways, do you feel like what about him? Are his like are his problems still our problems? Would you sympathize with him? Because I do.
yeah. I'd say so. Yeah,
Yeah. He's the Dark Knight, right? Like you root for him.
yeah,
And maybe that's just it, is
of
we have
course.
no idea what super rich people do with their money. Like I didn't know what Alex directed. I didn't even care.
Yeah.
Then I heard his autobiography and I was like, rock on, dude. Anyways, that's that
Mm,
comparative thing. But what if we can all kind of be like, I'm going to quote David Bowie, we can all be heroes. Or remember that
yeah.
party song, We Could Be Heroes, when we were like 22 and we're
We
like,
could, yeah,
yeah, we
Alesso.
could. But what if we could?
Yeah,
What if we
yeah,
could? I know I'm a hero to my daughter.
yeah.
I know you're a hero to your mother,
You're,
right? You're a hero to people.
yeah,
People
to
look
my
up to
cats.
us. No, well, hey man, you're a hero. You feed them,
Yeah,
right? We all have, and that's
yeah.
responsibility. And I think that if we realize that we all have responsibility, we would be happier. Like this is your duty.
Mm,
It's like I know I'm not a very good dad sometimes, whatever the fuck that means. Pardon my
yeah.
language, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm doing my best here, right?
Mm,
That's a comparative thing again. I'm not the best dad. Well, you know what? I'm doing my best. So forget it. See, I'm doing my best. I'm not
there
the
you go.
best. Forget that. I'm doing my best. We're doing our best. That's that learning again. Jesse, you're doing your best.
Yeah,
Oh, right. Anyways, when we do that, I think we become happier because then we're like, oh, right, I'm not supposed to be flying to the moon. I'm supposed to be a father or take care of animals because without me,
hmm,
they're defenseless,
yeah,
right? So you're doing a great duty,
yeah,
but we forget our duty because we're comparing ourselves all the time,
yeah. I mean,
right?
I used to when I was younger, I hated when I remember when I was. Do you remember when you first heard like One Step Closer by Linkin Park, like Hybrid
One step
Theory?
closer to the edge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like 11 and I was like, my
I
parents don't understand me. What bullshit.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
anyways, I
Um,
had it really good.
I remember
Sorry.
as a kid, I couldn't do that when I couldn't produce that sound out of my voice. I later learned how to do it, but when I was a kid, I didn't know how to do it, and it pissed me off so much that I couldn't do that, and that kind of continued as I got older. Like if I couldn't sing a part to a song, I'm like, oh, why can't I do that? But now I understand that I have a vocal range limit and I'm not supposed to sound
Right.
like, you know, like friggin' Trace Adkins from country music or Johnny Cash, and I'm not supposed to sound like Madonna or Mariah Carey. I'm supposed to have my voice range, my vocal ability. And if I can't hit that one random note that, you know, Freddie Mercury can hit, who cares? Because I can hit the notes
I'm
I can
not
hit.
Freddie Mercury. Yeah, I'm Jesse.
Yeah. Do you know how much more enjoyable singing has been without that whole, you know, that pressure I put on myself and that
Ah,
comparative that yeah, like just
yeah.
you
You're
sit
just
there
doing
and you just
you.
don't put so much pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing a good job. Like
You're doing your best. Art, here it comes down to, did you do
yeah,
your best? That's what I would ask when I was a teacher. Like I
mm,
honestly, I know I was terrible at teaching math, but I am a good teacher because I care about the human being.
yeah,
Pythagoras theorem. Although you can learn cool stuff from that, like harmonizing in music is related to
mm.
Pythagoras theorem. That's what he was coming up with, that they're all working in unison, and it sounds beautiful.
Oh really?
So that's why we love harmonizing in music, is because it's touching
Yeah,
something deep within our essence.
yeah.
Man, this
It's
is such a
getting C
crazy
squared.
show. Yeah, it's getting C squared here. Anyways, um,
Yeah.
but I told kids, I'm like, do your best. And I meant it. Like, don't be
Hmm.
the best. I mean, sure, go ahead, be the best. But start with just doing your best. If you do your best, you will be the best
Yeah,
at whatever it is you want to do. Put that
yeah.
on a bumper sticker.
Oh man, I remember there was this quote from I loved the show Boy Meets World growing up. It was like one of my favorite shows, and it was honestly because
I love growing
I mean I
pains,
had a
but
great
go on.
father,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the Mr. Feeney was such a great male model influence in my life. And I remember that the last quote he says in the last scene of the TV show is he's speaking to the four kids and they're finally going growing up and going out into the world. They graduated. And he says to them, I want you all to do good. And the smart girl Topanga, she's like, don't you mean do well, Mr. Feeney? And he's like, no, I mean I want you to do good.
Big.
I was like, not same thing as what you said. Be your
Yeah.
best. Don't be
Yeah.
the
Do
best.
your best. Do your
Yeah.
best. But we live in a society that questions if we did our best. Like, hey,
Mm,
you know what, man? Can I answer that question for myself first? No, I didn't. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't need you to shame me. I can tell you when I didn't
Yeah.
do my best. And oftentimes it's because I don't want to. Like my
Right.
laundry. Did you
Yeah.
do your best on your laundry? Fuck no, I
No.
didn't. I want to move on with my life. Thank you very much. But you didn't.
Mm,
You mixed all the colors together. You didn't do your best. And it's like, no, I didn't. Because guess what? That doesn't mean anything to me. Although it's important
yeah.
and it's a responsibility.
Man,
But
I have
what I want to
noticed.
do is this. Go ahead. What have
What's
you
that?
noticed? No, no, no. What have you noticed?
Oh, I was gonna say, I side little notice. Sorry, my internet's lagging right now, so I get you like 5 seconds later, so I might cut you off. But
Oh,
um, I noticed that moving in with a girl, um, my laundry has now become a science. Because when I was a bachelor, doing laundry was literally throw everything in the
yeah,
same load. Just
yeah.
everything goes in the washer, everything goes in the
It's Phil
dryer.
Collins. Phil Collins. I don't care anymore. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Now I'm like, I gotta meticulously pull out the whites and the darks and the linens and the whatever and the this and the
yeah.
that. And anyways, go ahead, because that was just a random funny joke.
No, no, that was great. I mean, okay, well, get this, man. Like, the reality is that there are domestic duties, okay, and we just attribute it to
Yeah,
whoever. I mean, really, come on, anybody can do the damn dishes. Like, but for whatever reason, there was a period of time when the man would work and the woman would do all the stuff, right? Around the house, domestic duties.
yeah,
Guess what? If you don't do domestic duties, your house is a fucking dump. So somebody's got to do it. Nowadays, a woman and a man, or, a woman and a woman, whatever, the two different parts, it could
mm-hmm.
be two men, but ultimately a relationship, 2 parts. When you start adding, 3 people and shit, that gets really weird and complicated. So let's just stick with 2 for simplicity's sake, right? You have to divide the responsibilities. So for example, with Jen, we share cleaning, and we just fixed the dishwasher. Oh my God.
Yep.
What a relief. Dude, you don't realize how much joy you get. Like, you make your shitty dishwasher your enemy. You're just like, fuck, if only that thing worked, I'd have more time. And then you fix it and you're like, yeah, you're celebrating. And then you're just going to create something else. Like, damn it, I wish I had marble countertops because then I could look cool. Like, you don't need that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't need anything.
Yeah.
Except for a working dishwasher.
You just need to do your best.
You just 100%. You just need to do your best. I'm probably wrong about everything. But we're probably wrong about everything, but you just need to do your best. Here you go. We got in your Twitch chat. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us. Good to see you again. I still don't know who in your Twitch chat is.
Yeah, for sure.
It's wonderful. He's using the I could be your dishwasher if you pay me well. Bro, I'm working on it.
Name your price.
Name your price.
Yeah.
So, but ultimately, I think that's what it comes down to, is that comparison is the thief of joy. And at least this is what we have to tell ourselves, stories so that we can sleep at night. And that's the story I want to tell myself, is that comparison is the thief of joy, and we just have to do our best. And if you're doing your best,
you're doing all right.
Godspeed. That's your rocket ship.
There you go, baby. Love it.
So, well, we're at an hour and 26 minutes. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Remember, you know what I forgot to do? Come on.
You didn't put the thing on. I
forgot to add this. Yeah. For this, though, you know what we should do? You should add the Patreon on there. Add the Patreon.
Yeah.
And put a 1604, because people will be calling from out of town. And we can't wait to hear you.
Yeah, that's true.
We can't
I
wait
just
to hear
assume we're calling from Canada.
In your Twitch chat, where are you from? Where in this wonderful world are you from? Or are you going to be secretive? I love it when they play hard to get or just are irresponsive. Halifax. Unreal. That's right. Yeah, you told me that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, he's a big Rocket. He's a big time Rocket League player. Do you play that game?
Yeah. I've never played that game, but I feel like I would. Is it just chaos? Like,
dude, it's like soccer with RC cars. It's pretty cool, but I suck. But one time we're talking about religion, and he was like, "Thank you guys for your faith. You just helped me win my match." And I was like, "That was a great joke."
Nice. Yeah.
So, well, everyone, thank you for listening. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. Probably wrong about everything. We're trying to get 100 subscribers, because if we do, then we get a bunch of different stuff.
Then me and Bobby will go streaking.
Then
I lied. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, you guys can go streaking. Nobody wants to see me streaking. They'll be like, "What is that?" Your podcast helps with gaming. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you so much. Please be sure to email us if you have questions or there are things that you guys want to hear. Have a wonderful night. Remember, I'm probably wrong about everything. Jesse, close us out.
Don't eat the yellow snow.
Solid advice.
One love, baby. One love.
One love. I love it.